Hello boys and girls, how are we? We are all good here, hope you are too. Staying safe, I presume. We are spending most of our time at home. We went out and took a short trip to the supermarket today. That was the highlight of my week, pretty much. It's now April, so Easter is next week in Ukraine. So we'll be celebrating Easter then, but in the UK and other parts of Europe, it's Easter this weekend, so we're going to have 2 Easters this year, or I'm going to have 2 Easters. Anyway, for traditional British Easter, we baked something called hot cross buns, so that's what we're going to make today. If we have a look at our ingredients.
Пасхальные куличи по-британски, так сказать.
So we've got sugar,
Сахар,
which is 75 grams.
75 грамм.
We've got 500 grams of flour.
500 грамм муки.
We've got, this is for something later, so 75 grams of flour.
75 грамм муки отдельно.
2 spoons of apricot jam.
2 ложки столовые абрикосового джема.
125 grams of raisins.
125 грамм изюма.
75 grams of dried fruit.
75 грамм цукатов.
1 apple.
Яблоко.
1 egg.
1 яйцо.
1 grapefruit.
1 грейпфрут.
How much butter was it? 50 grams of butter.
50 грамм сливочного масла.
4 grams of ground cinnamon.
4 грамма корицы.
4 grams of salt.
4 грамма соли.
And 7 grams of drožđa.
И 7 грамм
It's
дрожжей.
dried yeast.
Сухие дрожжи.
And then here I've got 300 grams of milk.
И 300 грамм молока.
Okay, so to start the process, I'm going to boil the milk. Oh, sorry, not boil the milk, warm the milk.
Для начала процесса нужно разогреть немного молоко. Не закипятить его, а
We're just warming it very lightly, and then I'm just going to add the butter in.
Масло в молоко. And what next?
And then just keep eye on the temperature. So we're literally just trying to warm it very lightly. So I'm just going to put my finger in there, because if the milk gets too hot and you put the yeast into it, the yeast are going to die.
Если молоко будет сильно горячее и добавить дрожжи, то дрожжи.
So I've just turned the heat off, yeah.
Выключил огонь.
And so we're just going to leave the butter to melt in there.
И оставит масло таять самостоятельно. Кастрюля не на огне.
Okay, so as you can see, the butter's just starting to melt. Slowly.
Okay, what's
At the
next?
same time, I've got a large pan here because we haven't got a bowl big enough to mix the dough, and I don't want to make a huge mess everywhere. So I'm just going to drop flour in, sugar,
Мука, сахар. Не было просто большой миски. Если есть большая миска, смешивать, то супер.
salt,
Соль,
cinnamon,
корица.
fruit,
Изюм улетел. И цукаты. So this is already тесто.
yes,
В общем,
yeah,
это уже приготовление непосредственно теста.
okay. At the same time, I've got grapefruit here. You could use lemon, you could use orange. We've got grapefruit today, so I'm going to use grapefruit. So I'm just going to put the zest of this in here. I've got a microplane.
Цедру натереть. Можно использовать любую цедру по вашему вкусу. У нас был грейпфрут, поэтому мы использовали грейпфрут. Можно лимон, можно апельсин.
So we've got all of our grapefruit zest in there now. Now I've got a peeled apple here and a box grater. So I'm just going to grate that till it gets to the core and then turn it.
Нужно натереть одно яблоко.
Leaving just the core there.
Оставить... Господи, я забыла, как это слово называется. Огрызок.
Okay, drop that in there.
Яблоко.
Now I've got an egg. Just going to crack that.
Яйцо.
And give it a little beat. Whisk.
Бить яйцо. Faster, faster, you're so slow.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give that a good quick mix.
Размешать.
Now I'm going to drop the egg in there. And then we're going to take our milk and butter.
Молоко с маслом. Уже масло немного подтаяло.
I'm just going to drop the yeast in here.
Дрожжи. 7 грамм дрожжей, напоминаю.
Okay, so we've got our egg in there. Then we're going to add the soft butter with the milk and the yeast. Get all of that out.
Молоко с сливочным маслом и с дрожжами.
And then I'm just going to start to fold the flour into this. Okay, so we've got our dough nicely mixed now. I'm just going to drop that out onto the worktop.
Вымешанное тесто.
Little flour on the worktop. See, it's quite a wet, sticky dough.
Тесто получилось достаточно влажным, если можно так сказать. Да. Красиво.
Da. And then I'm just going to work that gently now. Just a little bit more flour. So I'm just going to work this for about 5 minutes. Dough's been kneaded for about 5 minutes now, yeah, and you can see it's quite wet to work with. This has probably had about an extra 50 grams of flour added to it, but you can see it's still very sticky and very wet. If you then you're going to have to scrape it off the surface afterwards.
Приблизительно 50 грамм муки, возможно, еще плюс-минус добавил. И все, готово.
So I'm just going to put that back into the pan where we mixed it now. There's
How long?
A little flour on the bottom, and then just put it into the pan like this. Cling film over the top.
It's for to rest.
To prove.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Должно
should.
настоять.
The yeast should start to work, and then
Дрожжи должны заработать. So for how long?
about 1 hour.
Где-то на час.
In a warm place.
В теплом месте.
So what I've done is just to ensure that we've got a warm place, I'll just turn the oven on, and I'm just going to leave it sitting above the oven.
Ага. Для того, чтобы убедиться, что точно теплое место, включена духовка, и вот сверху стоят наши прекрасные
You can see
дрожжи.
the size of it. We're looking for it to be doubled in size.
По идее, должно увеличиться в 2 раза.
Okay, so let's come back to that in 1 hour. All right, after 1 hour, you can see that our dough is about double in size. It's actually been 1 hour and 10 minutes. So we're just going to take the cling film off, and then I'm just going to use the spatula to work it a little bit.
Спустя час получилось, даже час 10 получился. Оно увеличилось в 2 раза.
Little flour, and then I'm just going to turn it out onto here. So now I'm just going to sprinkle it with a tiny bit of flour over the top, just so it's a little bit easier to work with. And then I'm going to cut it into workable pieces. I think we're probably going to do about, I'm guessing about 12, so 6 out of each. We're probably looking at about, let's see, in half like that. And then, so 1, 2, 3. Now I've got 12 relatively even sized pieces. They're all plus minus the same weight, probably within about 15-20 grams. I've got a tray here which we've lined with baking paper.
12 кусочков получилось.
And then I'm just going to put them into balls like this, and then you don't have to do it this way. You can, because we're going to prove them again. So as long as they're relatively round, something like this. And here's the last one now. Okay, and then just drop that on the tray as well. And then we're just going to leave those there again for about an hour until they prove up.
Оставить еще на час.
Our buns have now been proving for about 1 hour. And obviously they haven't got any crosses on them right now, so we need to make the paste for the crosses.
Часик постояли и поднялись.
So I've got here 75 grams of flour.
75 грамм муки.
I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 spoons of water.
4 ложки воды.
We're trying to make a paste to make the crosses. Okay, more.
Это, условно говоря, мука, паста для того, чтобы сделать полосочки, которые будут сверху. More water? Так что только мука.
How many was that?
Вода. 5.
No, more. 7.
Oh, maybe.
As you can see, we've got a now nice smooth paste. I'm just going to make a piping bag.
Просто вода и мука.
I've got a piece of paper which I've cut.
Пергаментная бумага.
And I'm just going to fold it. So I'm just going to take the flat side there and just fold it around to make our little piping bag. Like this. And then I'm just going to fold that in there. And then, 1 second. So as you can see, we've got a little hole in the bottom there, and it's just folded round, as you can see. I'm going to put it in a cup and then pour the mixture inside.
Это handmade bake bag. Кондитерский мешок, да.
Okay. Just going to fold that up. And then we're just going to make our crosses on our buns. So and then across the other way. And so on, so forth. Buns now double in size and our cross is all on. Oven is up to temperature at 225 degrees.
225 градусов.
220.
220 градусов.
And I'm going to put those in the oven now on the middle shelf for 15 minutes to start, and then let's have a look.
На среднюю решетку. И через 15 минут проверить.
While they're in the oven cooking, I've got some apricot jam here.
Абрикосовый джем.
And a pan. I'm just going to put the pan on the heat. Turn it on. I'm just going to melt our apricot jam a little bit in there.
Немного растопить абрикосовый джем.
So it's come up to a boil. I'm just going to take that and put it. I've got a tea strainer here. I'm just going to sieve it through the tea strainer. We just want to get the pieces out. That's all.
Абрикосовый джем закипел очень быстро. И пропустить через сито, чтобы не было
And then
кусочков.
we're going to use this to glaze the hot cross buns afterwards.
So we're not using this right now.
No, we'll use it after the.
Кусочки не выбрасывать, потом их.
After they're cooked.
Потом их использовать.
So 15 minutes is up. And then we've got our glaze here, so I'm just going to brush them with the glaze.
Smells delicious.
And we're done.
Помазать джемом.
And there we have it, our hot cross buns. The ideal way to eat these is to cut them in half, toast them, either in a toaster or you can do it in the oven under the grill, and then afterwards spread them with a little bit of butter.
Идеальный вариант разрезать их пополам и разогреть в тостере, либо же в духовке и намазать сливочным маслом.
So that's British Easter taken care
Это
of.
традиционная Пасха британская.
And next week we'll do Ukrainian Easter. Happy Easter all.